Gemini 8, an industrial strike. The rising up against abuse of power is a very controversial topic, and it divides the population. The haves and the have-nots take two sides in this debate. Those people who've got what they need, they have enough, they have more than enough. They just don't understand it when the have-nots are rising up in complaints. There are people who have decided to be comfortable in their own small world, with their family and close friends who are on the same income level as they are, and they just don't notice the poverty in the world and the hardship. But there is considerable hardship in the world, and this is brought to high relief in the process of striking against unfair employers. There's injustice in the workplace. It's terrible. There's bullying, there's greed, and the victims of these psychological disorders will always be the poor. It always is that way. And the poor workman wants to rise up against this injustice and claim what is fair, what is theirs to claim. That's the formula. Now, which side of that sort of line you choose to inhabit is an interesting comment about who you are and what you are. If you tend to behave as though you're a rich person while signing petitions in favor of feeding the poor, well, think about that. There's an ambiguity there, isn't there? The industrial strike is potentially violent. It usually starts out peaceful, and the intention is usually peaceful, but it tends to get violent. There tends to be an escalation beyond the level of words into physical abuse, one way or another. In fact, both ways. At that point, it's gone too far. We have to draw the line somewhere, and I think the line that we draw is that you shouldn't hit anyone. However, if the only way to actually bring justice into the world is to use physical violence, or should I say physical force, then maybe there may be circumstances where that is okay. But too much force is violence. Enough force, that's force. Too much force is violence. And if somebody has a gun and is pointing it at you and depriving you of food, what can you do? And I think the answer is you have to take their gun away. And if that means using physical force to do that, then that's what it means. I wouldn't see that as incongruous for a person even of a spiritual nature, just to use appropriate force to right the wrongs of the world. It's when that becomes a pleasure, when that becomes lacking in restraint, when it's done irresponsibly, that I think we have the likelihood of a guilty conscience arising. If we look at the other side of this equation, it is likely that even though we don't know it, even though it is unconscious, it is likely that actually we are claiming too much power in a situation where we have some influence of responsibility or authority over another. The obvious example is a parent over a child, or a boss at work over an employee. Or teacher over a school child. It's often the case that we misuse our authority and cause grief in another person. If we do that, then we need to be on notice that rebellion is not far away. Any abuse of power triggers rebelliousness. And that rebelliousness is never safe. So, in one sense, the way to stop industrial strikes, the way to stop rebellious behavior in a teenager, the way to stop self-harm in a teenager is to be more gentle, more conscious, more aware, more sensitive in the way we apply the authority that we have in life.